response was to get him secured, provide medical assistance to those who were shot, and then get the traumatized theater goers out of that area and interviewed. So I didn't have a chance to do that, no.
But he did, in the police report, there is talk that he said that he felt that something hit him. He didn't know what the object was, but...
The major crimes detectives in their follow-up interviews procured that information, but not me personally, no.
Is there any information that we heard at the hearing today about the person who called in December, the young woman who said that she recognized the defendant and said that, you know, she was on her cell phone, I don't know if it was at the same theater, and that, you know, can you tell me that story?
We're looking into that right now. We got that information. We have detectives that are looking into that. So I unfortunately can't give you any further information on that right now.
Do I have it right so far, though?
I can't give you. I only give any preliminary information until we get all the details. Yeah, but
you are looking.
We are looking at it. We did get a call from a citizen stating that while she was in the theater, she was texting and somebody, what she believes was harassing her. So what we're doing is going back now. Our detectives will be investigating it, see if we can pull video and see, you know, is it the same person? And we're going to look into this matter.
We've heard Olson's attorney say that they believe that the initial aggressor was, I'm sorry, we heard Reeves' attorney say that they believe the initial aggressor was Olson. In the course of your investigation, do you believe that A, he is the initial aggressor, and if being the initial aggressor means arguing with somebody, is that ever a reason to shoot someone?
Curtis Reeves is under arrest for second-degree murder. He is the person that we have arrested. We worked with our state attorney's office. His public defense is going to do everything possible to get him off. Our job is to have him convicted and bring justice to the victim's family. We believe that all the information we've gathered, all the evidence, and working with our state attorney's office, we are correct in our charge of second-degree murder.
Sure.
I was going to say, with us also is investigative questions. We have Detective Proctor and Detective Harris. Those questions inquiring about, you know, statements he may have made afterwards. I have them here to answer those type of questions.
Have you looked at this as a possible stand your ground case?
No, I would say from the very beginning of any type of investigation, if we believe there was a crime that was occurred, we're going to look at every possible angle. From looking at every possible angle, we determined that yes, it was a second-degree homicide. One of the things that we do when we go into a case is we want to make sure that there's justice that is served. We know any possible defense will be brought up in a courtroom. Knowing that, as the investigation is going on, we look to see if there could have possibly been a defense for stand your ground. Working with our detectives, working with the state attorney's office, we did not believe that there was any reason why the public defense, any reason why Curtis Reeves' defense will be able to be justified in the fact that they say it's a stand your ground case.
Can you explain that to me one more time? Can you explain that to me again?
Correct.
Just what you just said again, please.
It basically goes back to the fact that when we go to court, we want a conviction with our state attorney's office. You know, we're in there to make sure that everything we do is properly done, that we're justifying our action. Going forward, because that we determined that, yeah, there was a homicide that occurred, we have to look at every angle from the initial part of the investigation, knowing what's going to happen in the courtroom. In that time, one of the defenses that could be, defense could use is the stand your ground. Through our investigation, we looked at it from that angle. We did not determine that stand your ground could be, you know, a justifiable reason why he shot the victim. So that is the reason why, working with our state attorney's office, it was determined that the stand your ground case, you know, does not fly here in this case.
If I could ask you, did the state attorney send a representative to the scene?
Yes.
And did they work in concert with you then to reach this conclusion about stand your ground?
Yes. The Assistant State Attorney, Manny Garcia, who's outstanding, was there very early on. We have a very tight working relationship with him. We thank him for that relationship. He was there from the very beginning. We were working together, our detectives. We huddled up, and that was a conversation that was brought up. And one of the questions we passed around, because we listened to our detectives, we listened to the boots on the ground, who are the ones actually doing the job, and we asked everyone point blank, you know, what's your belief? And everybody said this is not a stand your ground case.
Can we hear from your detectives on what he said to you about him defending himself?
Well, I would first just like to pretext that by saying it is an active, ongoing investigation. And so don't be surprised if that's the answers that you get to the majority of your questions that I've been listening to, unfortunately.
Has he denied that he took a gun out and shot the gentleman who died?
No.
Give me your name so I have it right.
My name's Detective Timothy Harris.
What did he say about the shooting?
Active investigation.
Did at any time Olson do anything more than throw popcorn? And I mean, let me ask that first. Did he throw the popcorn?
That's still part of the active investigation. I can say that there were words that were exchanged between the two men.
Did he ever do anything physical?
No physical contact.
Towards Reeves, not at all?
Not that we've been made aware of, no. Detective, it was said that the suspect at one point, after the initial altercation, got up and left the theater. It was implied that he went to speak to someone in management or to complain to someone at the theater. Did he, in fact, do that? Yes. Yes, there was contact made with the manager, and he told the manager that the man had his phone. And the manager said that you know, he was glad that he made him aware of it, and then he returned to the. He did report to the management that the gentleman was on his phone.
Did he get his gun at that time?
I'm sorry?
Is that when he got his gun at that time, or did he have it in his pocket the whole time? As far as we're aware, he was in possession of the firearm when he entered the facility. I know there was mention that he had left, went to his car. That's in fact not true.
Did the manager say he was going to do something after that conversation, or was it just left to...
I don't know exactly what the manager told him myself, but he was made aware of the situation. And
Did management ever come in?
No, not that we're aware of. They hadn't had time.
What sort of security video does the theater have that you can reveal?
Active investigation, so we're still working on that.
When you shot, is there a security system at that theater that would provide you any information?
There's a security system in the theater. Whether it ultimately provides us with any information is still to be determined.
When in that room, is there a camera in that room? In the room where the shooting happened, the theater?
Active investigation, I'll tell you as far as that.
Closed? Is it now closed off, or is it back in business?
That I'm unaware of. I know they didn't show any more movies last evening because of the circumstance and the outcome.
Detectives, when Reeves shot at Olson, his wife, Olson's wife, did she put her palm up in front of the weapon when he fired? Is that how she was shot, through her hand?
The information that we've got as far as that goes is that she was doing her best to break up the argument, or break up the altercation that the men were having, the verbal altercation, I say. And with that being said, she had her hand on her husband's chest when the projectile entered into his chest. She actually got hit in the hand.
The back of her hand?
It was in a finger, or ring finger.
But did it come from this side or this side?
From the front side.
I have a larger question for the sheriff. How complicated or touchy has this case been for you and your people, because this man is a retired police captain, lots of friends in law enforcement?
He was treated the same as anybody else would be treated. Whether he was a retired law enforcement, he was a retired banker, he was a retired accountant, it doesn't matter. He committed a second-degree homicide. He was charged. We kept him on scene. We did not refer the charges to the state, which then would have released him to the public. We kept him in custody. So he was charged. He was treated the same as anybody else would be.
Sheriff, why was he allowed to walk from the movie theater to the cruiser by himself? We didn't see any deputies immediately escorting him into the back of that cruiser.
Those are the questions that are brought up. The questions that were brought up about the escorting, the handcuffing. We do an after-actions report. Not just about how our deputies acted, but about the whole scene out there. One of the things that was brought up was about the handcuffing, that he was handcuffed in front at one point. He was 71 years old, and our general orders, our officers, our deputies have the discretion to handcuff in front if they want. So those are those things that we are looking at in the totality of the whole circumstances. But going back to the fact You know, when you look at the way we acted out there, I am very, very proud of our deputies.
Sheriff, did Mr. Reeves have a concealed weapon permit?
At this time, you know, part of our investigation, whether if he had a concealed weapons permit or didn't, he committed a second-degree homicide. So how he had the gun, that's part of the investigation, but it never changes the fact that he shot somebody in that movie theater, killed him, and we arrested him, and he was brought to Orlando Lakes Detention Facility.
Just for clarification, you're saying that this was at the discretion, just back to the question I asked before, this was at the discretion of the deputy not to handcuff him or to physically escort him. This is a question from our viewer, that's why we're asking.
Right, and that's one of those things that we have to do an after-actions report. That deputy was one of the first ones on scene. I could tell you, one of the things that is often forgotten about is the post-traumatic stress, the energy dump. You think about, you are running into a situation, your life is on the line, you know you are there to save other people, and now, you know, we go back, and that is the one thing, is there's an energy dump where these guys are exhausted, but they're working as hard as they can. I'm extremely proud of every single one of them. Going back, we will be doing an after-actions report. We're going to review the whole policy to see what we do. If there's things that we can look at and be better at, absolutely. You know, I don't think there's anybody in this place that has walked on water. And I can tell you, we can fix anything. We're going to train and we're going to become better. But I can say I am proud as hell as our deputies.
You know, you talked about the concealed weapons permit. Did you say that you have yet to determine whether he had one, or you've determined it, you're just not revealing it here?
Well, we're not going to reveal here, but it has not. In the investigation, he was charged with second-degree homicide. He shot somebody. In our investigative purposes, you know, our main focus is that we have somebody who killed somebody in a movie theater, not if he had a concealed weapons permit or not.
I guess the question, though, that would follow would be, did he have the permission, did he have the authority, did he have the right to carry a gun concealed into the movie theater?
Right, and from our situation in the investigation, if he was somebody who got that gun illegally, he would still be charged with second-degree homicide. So our main focus is that we have an individual that killed a human being inside that movie theater. Our focus right now is on the fact that we have a homicide. It's still ongoing. As Detective Harris, you know, clearly states, there's a lot of things that we can't answer right now because it's still part of an ongoing investigation.
Sure. I have some questions about the suit that he was wearing. Some folks in New York were asking me what was up with that suit. What is it, like a...
The white suit?
No, the green suit that he was wearing at the hearing. Was it?
Yeah, this is a high-profile case. There's security issues. We can't reveal some of our information because of for security purposes, but when we have high-profile cases, we have to ensure the safety of the person that we have in custody.
So it's a suit that restricts him. Can you just give me some...
I apologize. I really can't go much into it. I could just say it was for his safety and for this, you know, and for the safety of our deputies. More for his safety.
Does it restrict his movements?
The handcuffs restrict his movements. I mean, he wasn't going to go anywhere anyway, but it's really a security issue. I don't want to go too far into it.
Okay, Sheriff, can you tell us where Mr. Reeves' son was at the time of the incident?
He was walking into the theater at that time where the previews were going on. His son had absolutely nothing to do with this incident. He was just walking in to find out where his father may have been seating at, not knowing anything that had been going on at this point. But let me make it very clear that his son had absolutely nothing to do with this incident.
His son is a Tampa Bay police officer?
Yes.
And he was there to meet his father, to watch
he was off, from our understanding, he was off duty. He was there just to spend an afternoon watching a movie with his father.
And you were after all of this?
I'm sorry, go back to your...
I'm sorry, I apologize. Can I report then, is it fair to report that what he's wearing when he's at the hearing today is a bulletproof vest? Is that what that is?
I'd be very fair to say that it is for his safety. From a sheriff's office perspective, sheriff's office are responsible for the safety of those that we have in custody. We have to provide him the ultimate safety, because it would be our responsibility if something happened.
Our folks are saying it looked like a Hannibal Lecter outfit, is what we were. We're in the same boat. Just trying to get. Everyone was wondering what was that.
No, it wasn't.
Sheriff, at any time did the Sumter deputy reach, I mean, I'm not sure if he was carrying, but if he was, at any time, was he carrying, and did he reach for his gun in an effort to stop it?
I can't answer that. All I know is that he went towards the suspect. So I can't tell you if he went for his gun or if he was carrying. All I know is that he was going into the hot zone. He was going towards that.
Sheriff, two
Mr.
questions
President.
about time. From the time the altercation started, the first verbal altercation, to the time of the shot, how many minutes passed?
I can't.
Approximately?
I'm not sure. Is there? Do we know? Or is it part of the investigation? We can't reveal. No, we can't. It's part of the investigation.
Can you say how long, at the time of the shot, how long before the movie would have started at that point? Like what point in the previews were they at?
I don't know how far in the previews. I can tell all timing is all part of the investigation, but I can tell you very clearly that movie had nothing to do with this incident. The previews are going on. Yeah.
I'm just saying,
yeah.
how, like, was it 10 minutes before the movie was supposed to start, or 5 minutes, or 30 seconds?
I'm not sure exactly the timeline along that. Yeah.
Sheriff, you understand her question, because some people would text during previews and others would ignore it, but when the movie starts, they would suggest the lights get a little bit lower when the movie starts, the music comes up a little bit louder.
Right.
So the curiosity of the texting, the time of the texting, becomes a little bit more interesting to the story.
Yeah, do witnesses, do we?
Is that something that you can address?
Basically, the previews, as we've all been to the movie theaters, they run the previews. The movie was scheduled for 1:25. Is that correct? I believe it's 1:25, and it had began. Where exactly they were at in the previews that they were showing, we don't know exactly. But the movie had not started yet. Do we know who the victim was texting? As nearest we can tell, they had a young child, and the young child was with a babysitter, and the father was communicating with the babysitter concerning the daughter.
Can you say if it was a quick draw shot, or was it more of a, point the gun at the guy and say, hey, I've had enough of this time?
I didn't see the shooting.
Well,
so.
no.
No, I'm just saying. That's part of the unknown.
Have you had a chance to look at the text, and do they reveal anything?
That's part of the investigation.
In the lead up to the shooting, who was more aggressive based on what we know from witnesses?
That's part of the active investigation. We're still going through the witness statements, the witnesses that were interviewed, and going through the information that we've got.
Have you done ballistics on the bullet itself, and does it indicate whether it was anything other than a standard issue purchase over-the-counter kind of bullet?
We're just over 12 hours. Absolutely not.
Any indication that the victim and the suspect had a previous relationship, knew one another from some other time?
No indication whatsoever, no.
Do you know why the gun jammed?
I would have my own opinion, but the company might not like it, so I'm not going to say that.
The gun was a .380?
Yes, sir.
The unknown object that was thrown at Reeves, do we know what that was?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
The unknown object listed in the report that Reeves thinks was thrown at him?
That's part of the active investigation, obviously.
But witnesses believe it was popcorn.
Again, that's the active investigation, so I can't...
We need to start wrapping up, guys,
Okay.
so if there's one or two more questions...
Yeah, can I ask you, are there any 911 calls that reveal anything that are useful to the investigation?
We're still going through the 911 calls. That
Can
came
you talk
in.
about those off-duty nurses that helped out? And,
Yeah.
I mean, were they from Castro County?
I could tell you they work at one of our local hospitals. Thank goodness, we got some good heroes out there. We will get you their information. The reason we can't get you their names at this time is we're still working with the state attorney's office on witnesses' names. We want to provide and work with them first. As it all goes back to the fact that we want a conviction. Either if he's a law enforcement officer or whoever he is, he did something wrong. He deserves justice to be served. But we will get you that information as soon as we can.
How long before the 911 calls, do you think?
It's determined on the investigative side of it. These gentlemen, these detectives, along with other detectives, they're the ones that are going to have to go into that courtroom. I don't want to have to do or say anything that is going to lessen the chances of our capability, along with the state attorney's office, to get a prosecution in this case.
Sure. Security at the theaters, are you guys providing any additional security? Are you worried about people actually wanting to go in and see where this happened in Theater 10?
Right. We're working with the Cobb Theater right now, directly talking about how, for security measures, because not only for the security that is routinely performed out there, but we know because of this incident, we have to have a higher level. But I don't want to go into detail into what we are doing, because security measures are that they are. It's security. The life of our citizens is paramount.
Have you suggested to other theaters in the area that they increase security?
We're working with them right now. I will say this: the Cop Theater did an outstanding job in their training. I would encourage any movie theater to look what they did.
Was some of that training from what we saw in Aurora?
I'm not sure how the training was provided or what led the company to decide to do what they did, but they did a great job in there.
Can I just ask you a social comment? Somebody goes to the movie and this happens. I mean, what do you think? This is your community.
This happens anywhere in our community. It's horrible. That's why I go back to the fact it didn't matter what he has done previously in his life. You don't shoot somebody over a texting incident. You don't shoot somebody over a verbal incident. If you can remove yourself, he could have had opportunities to leave. He did. He went out to go speak to a manager. It's absolutely horrendous, anything that occurs in our county where there's a loss of life. This is an extremely unfortunate situation. We know because it happened in a movie theater. There's certain blankets of protection in our county, in our community, in our country. A school, a hospital, a movie theater. Those are those things that we hold sacred in the fact that we believe when we're there, nothing bad's going to happen to us. So for the fact that, somebody goes to a movie theater, they're there to relax, enjoy themselves, and, remove the stress of society. But unfortunately, in those horrible moments, stress was brought in. It's absolutely horrendous. And that's why I keep going back to the mental health. The mental health of our deputies, the mental health of our citizens that were there. Because, that blanket of protection was ripped from them. And, we need to be able to get it back to them. We need to get them back to normalcy. Because if not, people are going to be afraid to do anything.
Is Mr. Reeves under any medication using it at that time?
I don't know. I don't know anything right at this point. Medication.
I can answer some follow-up questions in a minute. But
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Have a great day. Thank you.
How are you?
It's kind of ambiguous. Correct.
Okay.
You got it from the video feed.
Right. I just wanted to double check.
Social